I am a masked woman, and I will today tell you about the counterproposal to the US-Russia draft peace plan for Ukraine, tabled by Europe. The document, drafted by Britain, France, and Germany, uses the United States' 28-point plan as its basis, working through it point by point with suggested changes and deletions. The U.S. has since said it is making some changes to its peace plan after seemingly positive talks with Ukraine. The text of the counterproposal is as follows. Point number 1. Ukraine's sovereignty to be reconfirmed. Point number 2. There will be a total and complete non-aggression agreement reached between Russia and Ukraine and NATO. All ambiguities from the last 30 years will be resolved. Point number 3 of the U.S. plan is deleted. A draft of it, seen by a few news agencies, says, there will be the expectation that Russia will not invade its neighbors and NATO will not expand further. Point number 4. After a peace agreement is signed, a dialogue between Russia and NATO will convene to address all security concerns and create a de-escalatory environment to ensure global security and increase the opportunity for connectivity and future economic opportunity. Point number 5. Ukraine will receive robust security guarantees. Point number 6. Size of Ukraine military to be capped at 800,000 in peacetime. Point number 7. Ukraine joining NATO depends on consensus of NATO members, which does not exist. Point number 8. NATO agrees not to permanently station troops under its command in Ukraine in peacetime. Point number 9. NATO fighter jets will be stationed in Poland. Point number 10. U.S. guarantee that mirrors Article 5 includes following 3 subpoints. A. U.S. to receive compensation for the guarantee. B. If Ukraine invades Russia, it forfeits the guarantee. C. If Russia invades Ukraine, in addition to a robust, coordinated military response, all global sanctions will be restored, and any kind of recognition for the new territory and all other benefits from this agreement will be withdrawn. Point number 11. Ukraine is eligible for EU membership and will get short-term preferred market access to Europe while this is being evaluated. Point number 12. Robust global redevelopment package for Ukraine, including but not limited to following. A. Creation of Ukraine Development Fund to invest in high-growth industries, including technology, data centers, and AI efforts. B. The United States will partner with Ukraine to jointly restore, grow, modernize, and operate Ukraine's gas infrastructure, which includes its pipeline and storage facilities. C. A joint effort to redevelop areas impacted by the war to restore, redevelop, and modernize cities and residential areas. D. Infrastructure development. E. Mineral and natural resource extraction. F. A special financing package will be developed by the World Bank to provide financing to accelerate these efforts. Point number 13. Russia to be progressively reintegrated into the global economy. It has following subpoints. A. Sanction relief will be discussed and agreed upon in phases and on a case-by-case basis. B. The United States will enter into a long-term economic cooperation agreement to pursue mutual development in the areas of energy, natural resources, infrastructure, AI, data centers, rare earths, joint projects in the Arctic, as well as various other mutually beneficial corporate opportunities. C. Russia to be invited back into the G8. Point number 14. Ukraine will be fully reconstructed and compensated financially, including through Russian sovereign assets that will remain frozen until Russia compensates damage to Ukraine. Point number 15. A joint security task force will be established with the participation of U.S., Ukraine, Russia, and the Europeans to promote and enforce all of the provisions of this agreement. Point number 16. Russia will legislatively enshrine a non-aggression policy towards Europe and Ukraine. Point number 17. The United States and Russia agree to extend nuclear non-proliferation and control treaties, including Fair Start. Point number 18. Ukraine agrees to remain a non-nuclear state under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Point number 19. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant will be restarted under supervision of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and the produced power shall be shared equitably in a 50-50 split between Russia and Ukraine. Point number 20. Ukraine will adopt EU rules on religious tolerance and the protection of linguistic minorities. Point number 21. Ukraine commits not to recover its occupied sovereign territory through military means. Negotiations on territorial swaps will start from the line of contact. Point number 22. Once future territorial arrangements have been agreed, both the Russian Federation and Ukraine undertake not to change these arrangements by force. Any security guarantees will not apply if there is a breach of this obligation. Point number 23. Russia shall not obstruct Ukraine's use of the Dnieper River for purposes of commercial activities. Agreements will be reached for grain shipments to move freely through the Black Sea. Point number 24. A humanitarian committee will be established to resolve open issues and has following subpoints. A. All remaining prisoners and bodies will be exchanged on the principle of all for all. B. All civilian detainees and hostages will be returned, including children. C. There will be a family reunification program. D. Provisions will be made to address the suffering of victims from the conflict. Point number 25. Ukraine will hold elections as soon as possible after the signing of the peace agreement. Point number 26. Provision will be made to address the suffering of victims of the conflict. Point number 27. This agreement will be legally binding. Its implementation will be monitored and guaranteed by a Board of Peace, chaired by President Donald J. Trump. There will be penalties for violation. Point number 28. Upon all sides agreeing to this memorandum, a ceasefire will be immediately effective upon both parties withdrawing to the agreed-upon points for the implementation of the agreement to begin. Ceasefire modalities, including monitoring, will be agreed by both parties under U.S. supervision. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to follow for more on unmasking the truth on current global issues. Do like and comment on the video.